Right on time.
Right on time, Philip. So I think we can start now. Welcome everyone. Uh, I welcome you to today's Blue Mission Atlantic and Arctic Weekly Hour. My name is Ana Faria. I'm a team member of the Blue Mission AA project at the Air Center, and I'm very happy to introduce you to our today's weekly hour regarding digital tools for citizen science and monitoring. This webinar will show how innovation and collaboration are bringing science and society, helping communities take an active role in safeguarding vital ecosystems. And with no further delays, I will now give the floor to our moderator, Oriane, from the F6S, who will moderate the session and introduce you to our speakers. So thank you very much and enjoy our webinar.
Thank you, Anna, and again, welcome everyone to the Atlantic and Arctic Lighthouse Weekly Hour. So, as Anna said, this one will focus on from the sea to the wetland, the digital tools that are created for citizen science and monitoring. So my name is Oriane. I'm a project manager in the blue economy sector in F6S, and I'm representing also our blue economy synergy that we have in F6S, representing 15 projects within the blue economy. We are excited to be co-organizing this session with our host, which is Blue Mission AA team, and that have helped us to bring this webinar live. Thank you to Anna and the entire team, Anna Faria, sorry, and the entire team for hosting us today. Regarding the housekeeping, just please note that we have a 1 hour webinar. So we will have 20 to 25 minutes allocated for each project. We will present 2 projects today that are showcasing the tools that they have developed. And then we will finish by a question and answer session. So we encourage you to submit your question via the Q&A box, and we will address them in the dedicated session at the end. So this session is being recorded and live streamed on the YouTube, so with the recording that will be available afterwards. And now I will introduce our 2 speakers. I will start with the first speaker, which is Tim Grandjean today, that is representing Archipelagos, the Institute of Marine Conservation in Greece, and he's representing the Restore for Life project. Tim is an environmentalist scientist that is dedicated to protecting and restoring the wetland and coastal ecosystem. His work focuses on community-driven initiative, bringing people together to take part in conservation and make science more inclusive and impactful. And today, as part of the Restored for Life project, which connects the wetland restoration site across Europe, Tim will introduce you to some of the digital tools developed to support the work. Those tools help scientists, local community, and decision makers to map, monitor, and share the data on the restoration activity, making the collaboration and citizen science participation easier and more effective. I will also put some link in the chat after for you to have reference to those projects. And after that, we will have our second speaker, which is Philip Hammer, which is the founder of the Spoteron app platform, who is representing the Effective project. Philip has more than 10 years of experience creating digital tools for citizen science and public engagement. And through Spoteron, his team has developed a range of interactive apps that connects people with environmental data collection in really accessible way. In the Effective project, Philip and his team have built the COSEA app toolkit, which is a collaborative platform for marine citizen science. And it allows the user and the organization to collect, visual, and share the data on the marine environment through mobiles and the web app. So the floor is yours, and I hand over to Tim Grandjean to start with the first project. Thank you.
Thank you, Oriane. Good afternoon or good morning, depending where you are, everyone. Well, I'm going to present a little bit more about Restore for Life, and then especially about the part where we develop, between brackets, digital tools for citizen science and environmental education, focus on wetland conservation. And then especially we are more focused on river wetlands than coastal wetlands, because they both exist. The work is not only done by me, it's done by many people. Two others are mentioned already on the first slide. That's Gabriele COSEA from EGB Berlin. She's really the work package lead within the work package where we develop all the tools. And Gabriele Wiegelhofer is from BOKU Vienna and as well work package leader of a part of the citizen science tools we developed too in another work package. Between brackets, you see digital, because I believe it's not only possible to do only digital things. You should really combine digital and offline and online activities to become effective. And you will see throughout my slides how that works. First of all, quickly all the partners. So within Restore for Life, we are with, I think, 31, 32 partners, more or less. That's quite a big consortium all across Europe, and makes it sometimes easy and sometimes very difficult to make steps. Because, for example, working with citizens, working with environmental education is not common sense in all the countries. And accepting that citizen science can produce very useful data is as well something difficult for certain institutes. But that means you need to create awareness about how effective it can be too. Well, in general, for the ones who are not familiar with Restore for Life, so Restore for Life is focusing on the restoration of wetlands as life supporting systems in the Danube. And we focus really on creating a kind of, at the end, decision support system. So there should come a kind of tool out, and this tool will support large-scale wetland restoration across the Danube and beyond. So it's not anymore that we only focus on the Danube. We already have 5 locations outside the Danube dealing with all our tools that we develop. How we want to do it, in the first case, we really want the wetland restoration decision support system. But on the other hand, we really want to empower the community. It should not be a top-down approach. We really want to get as well a bottom-up approach. And if you start thinking about a bottom-up approach, you can start including citizen science, or actually schools, and even they are very effective in getting protection in place. But on the other hand, you can think about as well businesses. So we work as well on tools to support businesses so they can start using wetlands, but as well get more benefit from it and want to restore it. And at the end, it's all out to support this holistic wetlands restoration. If we think about wetland restoration activities, it's mostly to think about water and pollution of pollutants. You really want to reduce them or at least make efficient storage for water. There are shortage, there are sometimes too much, how to control that. On the other hand, it are important ecosystems for carbon sequestration. It provides opportunities for tourism for the local communities. And on the other hand, you can think about really having good and strong habitats for biodiversity. Overall, these are activities that can be observed by scientists. We can use remote sensing for it. We can go in the field, but as well, citizen science is very effective. They can really observe all this type of activities or actually ecosystem services we can get from it. Well, for your idea, this is more or less the Danube, the dark blue line, and then you see more or less in the colors all our locations. So we have 4 implementation sites. That's where we plan to do restoration activities. We have 6 demonstration sites. There's already restoration activities done, and we actually demonstrate the tools we developed that they can work to monitor, for example, the success of restoration. And then we have currently as well, since earlier this year, 5 associated regions. We had a huge call. I think we had, I don't know, 20 or 40 applicants. And from Armenia, Belgium, Portugal, Sweden, Ukraine, we selected 5 locations where they're going to do as well restoration activities and use all our tools. Well, today we want to chat about citizen science, but at the same time, I need to chat about environmental education. I cannot avoid it because you see that those two, they really get hand in hand. If you don't know anything about the environment, you would not like to go in and start observing. So maybe we can call it much more like a participatory environmental learning experience that we try to provide to the people close to the locations where we do restoration activities, where restoration activities are done, or actually to assess where we can start doing restoration. Well, first of all, again, you see a river, and it starts always with awareness. We need to start understanding why is it important to restore wetlands or actually to have wetlands nearby. Doesn't matter what type of citizen science activity you do, even if you want to do monitoring of plastic or whatever, you need to be aware about the problem before you have interest in doing so. That starts by creating a learning experience. People really need to learn about what's happening. So that's where you see that environmental education comes along. And when you start learning about it, you want to experience it. So you can go in the field, or you have other types of online activities. For example, we're going to see examples that trigger you about, okay, why is it so important to have those wetlands or have any other ecosystem? And after that, you really can start observing in the field, collect data, produce data, and this data that, even if it comes from citizen science, can be very effective to start restoring wetlands or any ecosystem. That this works, I'm really going to give a completely different example. As Oriana said, I'm not only working with wetlands, I work as well with coastal ecosystems. And in coastal ecosystems, in the last couple of years, we apply this tool. We really start creating awareness among a local community from, okay, why is a certain habitat important for them? They start sharing with us their data, and based on that data, we did a big protection. So for example, here we gave teaching at schools, we went to fishermen to extract data, partly we extracted it from their own computers, others we asked to draw down, we created an online complete platform where they could learn about certain habitats that are nearby. They got a kind of app where they could annotate underwater footage. So they really got a feeling of the importance of their coastal habitat. And after that, the community said, we want this area protected. We did some mapping for them. And at the end, we went together with the community, the mayor, to the minister, in Greece in this case. And we said, listen, the community wants it protected. We show evidence that's there. Please do so. And within a month, we had a
Team? I believe I'm not the only one that cannot see him.
No. Okay.
We lost you for a minute.
Oh, you lost me for a minute?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not long.
Not long. Okay. I'll hope I'm back.
Definitely these slides, yeah.
This slide you missed, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I was wanted to tell you is that Oriana told as well that I'm not only working on wetlands, I work as well on coastal ecosystems. And there we applied actually this complete mechanisms. So from learning, experiencing, up to restoring. So we went actually to the local community. We start chatting at schools. We start chatting with fishermen about the habitats they have nearby. We start creating an online learning platform for them. They start looking in the data from that we collected. We start looking in their data. There was really this two-way direction with the community. And after that, the community said, thanks for this. Now we realize how important the area is in our surroundings. Can we protect it? So together with the mayor, we went to the Minister of Environment in Greece, and we said the community wants this area over 400 square kilometers protected. And the only thing the minister said, if the community wants it, we will do the protection. So what you really see over there is that community-led initiatives are possible, but it takes time. You need to build trust with them, start educating them, they start sharing with you data, and at the end, together, you can get protection in place. So that's well what we realized. If we really want to restore wetlands, we should start as well getting the local communities on board. We need to start giving them a useful learning experience. What is the most easy group to learn or to teach are actually school kids. So what we did, we started creating a toolbox with a complete learning experience. So here you see the river, the Danube, and across the Danube, there are many different activities. They just can click on it and they get much more types of experience about, okay, why are wetlands so important? It's, for example, a sponge in terms of excessive rainfall. On the other hand, it's important for climate protection or carbon storage. There are many different activities and important functions of wetlands. So it's actually kind of one-stop shop for wetland environmental education. So people click on it, and then they have actually get to a specific page of that activity, and they can experience it. So there's a kind of gamification involved. There are protocols, so that's if you want to do things offline, and there are even more activities because we are not the only ones that develop this type of activities. So many people are developing this type of tools. Am I still? Yeah, I'm still there, right? So we start creating an environmental education experience, more or less. So for the offline protocols, we really look, for example, to the 5E learning framework, a very important framework because it's about engaging them, get them exploring the environment, that they are able to explain it, but at a certain moment they need to be able to extend or elaborate on it. They really start understanding the environment and then even evaluate what they did and why it's so important. So there are completely protocols or worksheets made for teachers and for students, really to start assessing offline, more or less, their environment. But then online, you really want to give them as well an experience because maybe not all the children can go to the field. So we have very nice graphical artist designs, and based on that, they get easy games. It's for school kids. So for example, can you recognize in the left image, which activities can you recognize? So you see there's some farming, there are some industry, there's someone canoeing, there's someone fishing. They need to select. So they start realizing what can you do actually in or near wetlands. Or for example, how do wetlands look like? So that's actually then you start coloring in a wetland. This toolbox, it is online on our platform end of the month. So we are now really finishing up the final details. And then actually people can start using it. So that's if you want them to learn. On the other hand, you want them as well to experience the environment. So for example, again, an offline activity, because not everything can be online, in my opinion. We're creating a kind of model wetland. So people can, or schools can create very easily a wetland just in few boxes next to the school, or in the school class, or next to the school class, actually to purify water. Very easy. Targets, children realize why it's important to have wetlands. But on the other hand, they want to do maybe as well something digital. So we're creating a game. So what they're going to do, they're going to travel with otters to otter down the Danube. And when they start traveling down the Danube, it will be in English. This is a prototype in Romanian. But they will get challenges. And based on those challenges, for example, the river got outside the banks, there's a huge flood. What can you do? So they get certain kind of challenges. They need to do an activity. And based on this activity, it costs them money, but they can improve the environmental condition of the river. So really to think for them to get an idea about the functional, chemical, biological problems rivers have. And solve it. And they travel completely down from upstream down to the Black Sea and experience everything in the Danube. As well, ready end of this month because it's a deliverable. On the other hand, sometimes you want to bring as well people and stakeholders together. So then you can think about a wetland fresque. Some people know about the climate fresque, so then you have a lot of cards. And on the front side of the card, there's just a topic, and on the back side of the card, there's a little bit more description. And you start creating a map by yourself, more or less a kind of mind map about how does climate change work? What kind of actors are there? What does it mean for us as humans? You can do exactly the same with wetlands. So we start creating a wetland fresque. And that's actually a kind of interactive offline game. And that's much more for stakeholders to think about the functions, services, threats that wetlands face. And if you're really not sure about why you want to protect a wetland, you start with something like this. You really start offline together, often a scientist, few stakeholders, and together you start thinking about okay, how complex are wetlands and how important is it to protect wetlands. So you experience just from offline, online experience things, why is it important to have wetlands? It's experience/learning. Hey, sometimes it really gets together too. At a certain time, you just need to go in the field. And as a citizen, To observe in the field, you just need protocols. So, for example, this is where then another work package Gabrielle is working on. It's really on citizen science protocols, manuals, methods that they can go in the field, collect data. It's about these topics we discussed there, so water retention, carbon sequestration, tourism, whatever. But the most important thing is we need to get people outside the office or the room and just in the field. Nice activities. And the aim of this at the end is that we're going to use this data in our decision support system. So this decision support system is a kind of magic black box. Maybe that's most easy to describe it. And as a manager, you go in, you say, I want to restore a wetland nearby. Or you say, okay, I currently have a wetland, but how can I improve the status? And then you start looking as well in indicators of that wetland, of the area. That can be carbon. That can be, for example, how nice is the area for tourists. It can be about actually almost everything related to the ecosystem services. Many protocols are already some published on our website, and many will be published in the coming weeks. So that's just observing. But another way of observing is actually, okay, you collect data and you want to submit the data. That can be via apps or via data forms, and we want to have an app too. The big question I actually got was, okay, is there a map of wetland distribution across Europe? Well, we have some maps about Ramsar locations, maybe from the Corine land cover classification, we can extract a little bit wetlands. Earlier this year, there was actually that's on the right, a much better map that actually starts showing wetlands, but there is not a really good data set that gives you more information about what's the status of the wetlands. So can we get citizens to the field to actually assess very quickly the status of wetlands? At least there was this need at the start of the project, and I still think this need is there. So let's have citizens in the field looking to the wetlands. Yes, I just created a nice AI image. And they start checking some things on a very easy, straightforward app. So there's literally an app for citizens, students, or anyone interested in nature, which would like to explore the wetlands nearby, curious about how healthy are they, what's their status actually. So how to do it? Well, first of all, again, it starts always with educating them. They need to explore, and then at the end, you want them as well to share their data. So in the app that we will have, there's a kind of educational content, very easy, straightforward, where they can learn in a few minutes about what is a wetland. On the other hand, as you can see, we are just in the starting up phase, so there are no data points yet. The idea is that they can start exploring the wetlands or explore wetlands nearby. So they can say, I'm there, show me the wetlands nearby, and they can start, if we know the wetlands, and they can start at any point filling in some questionnaire. And at the end, they will share. And we really believe that we should share all the data and have all the data easily available. So over here, you can download the CSV report, but there's as well, for example, an API. And an API means we can extract all the data and use it in any other platform just via an easy link. And that makes it much more easy to share this type of data. And if we have this API, we can use it in our decision support system. And at the end, to have data open is just a fair principle. Because I think if anyone contributes to data collection, especially citizens, we should make it fair. And to make things easy, there's, for example, no user account. So we don't know who submit the data. Some people are really against it, but actually we are saying then there's no ownership of the data. So they just submit data, and with the submission, they say as well, okay, I'm not owner of this data. So it's really easy. People locate where they are. They can upload photos. They have around 12 to 16 questions to answer about the functions, about biodiversity, how much anthropogenic impact is there. And based on that, we can classify the wetland. So they can see how the wetland is classified as healthy or unhealthy. And on the other hand, that classification can support the decision support system, which is able then to tell to stakeholders from, okay, this is a wetland in a perfect status, keep it. Or this is an area with a perfect situation but not yet protected, so let's protect it. Or the other way around, if something is in a very bad shape, you want to do it a little bit different. The idea is actually that it takes 3 to 5 minutes to fill in, so it's really easy. You're just in the field with your phone, you fill in, and you can go on. And we have the prototype more or less ready, but we realized when we start testing the field, there are some small glitches or things we need to solve, but that's what we do at the moment. And then ideally from later on this year, we really can start using it. Well, and you get closely to the end, so then you can start doing restoration activities. But at the end, when you start restoring, you need to start again with the wetland awareness. It's a constant process that you have in this type of conservation activities. So for example, what's really upcoming, and I created again a nice app. There are many tools still coming in our project. And there's, for example, a tool coming that's a decision support system. That's not really for the citizen science, that's for the stakeholders much more about, okay, where can we take actions? There's a toolbox coming online where you can see all the different toolboxes we have. For example, this environmental education, where things for business developed, etc. And then there is as well an app coming that tells you much more about how feasible is it to do kind of restoration or solutions. We have that app more or less ready too. Important is then to follow us. Oriana is not saying it, I think, so I will do it. So you can go to our website. Oriana's put it already in the link and sign up for our newsletter. We have podcasts at the moment, really nice podcasts about climate change, about wetlands, of course, and very soon as well a podcast about citizen science. Really nice, or go to our LinkedIn. And you will see as well all the tools, because I said most are at the final stage. We're gonna present, launch them in the coming weeks. So it's really important if you want to see them and experience them, go to our website, sign up for the newsletter or LinkedIn, and you will see all the promotion passing by in the coming weeks. And I think that's a nice moment to end my slides. I hope it was very clear for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Tim. Really nice storytelling as well. I really like all the steps that you explain to arrive to the restoration point at the end. A lot of work has been done, and it's nice to see all those tools coming to life. So yeah, I put the link in the chat. Sign up for the newsletter and follow us, then you can have more information on those apps and tools being released very soon. And now I will not take more time, and then I will hand the floor to Philip Amar, that will talk about the Spotteron app and the Effective project. On to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I hope the audio works well. Yeah, my name is Philip. I'm one of the co-founders of the Spotteron Citizen Science app platform. And since 2014 already, we are developing toolkits for research projects in collaboration with universities, stakeholders, policymakers, and NGOs worldwide now. And this is quite a journey. And what I present today is one project which is coming out of our activity in Horizon Europe as a partner. And quickly searching for my right screen. Yeah, this should work. And this project is called COSEA. And COSEA is basically a collaborative toolkit which enables initiatives from research projects, also to international initiatives, but also local communities and NGOs to basically use a very modern application toolkit. So our role in this project is that we are providing, on one hand, the technology and develop features and functionalities. And on the Spotteron platform, one important trait is that this is a collaborative effort, because if you think of your own activity in the smartphone space, in the online world, you as a user, as a participant in a citizen science project, you also have needs and requirements. And one part of this need is that, for example, you are able to communicate, that you are able to learn something, as we just heard before, that your participation is not only about providing data or a photograph, but also being active in the project and being part of a whole community. So we will take a brief look at that, perhaps if the time allows even live. But first, as a quick introduction, so the COSEA application is already out there on Android, iOS, and also as a web application. And it's now a collaborative effort of two major Horizon Europe projects. It's on one hand effective, which is focusing on marine protected areas. And on the other hand, there is transition or transiation, as some call it, which is about basically blue-gray infrastructures and how they can impact better biodiversity and environmental protection. And yeah, SpotRun for sure is the platform which the COSEA app runs on. And on SpotRun, there are like, I don't know, currently I think 70 active citizen science projects running, and COSEA is also sharing a big chunk of that in terms of functionalities and possibilities. So how does it look like? This is basically the app, right? And there are also QR codes you can quickly scan to go directly to the app stores. There is also an interactive web application which allows participation out of the smartphone, but simply in a browser, and also in a mobile browser for sure on your smartphone. But there are also data connectors. There is an API available for partners, and there is also a data administration interface. This is the common scope of a SpotRun toolkit, which is used in many projects across the world. And basically it covers a full participation environment, which also enables people to be part of a project. So what's possible there? On one hand, classic data recording, right? This is one big aspect of citizen science. We take in situ observations, we record data basically based on observational environments. We have options to input data as a photograph, as a media object. There's also important trait there that for sure people need also to be in a legal way to share the photo, so to say, because we in Europe, we don't have a copyright. We have intellectual property right, which means basically that there is a licensing involved, which is always important also to consider in citizen science. But also data can be visualized directly in the app. So this is the data part, and this goes all to the data administration interface. But my background, my own activity, so to say, in the citizen science space started when I was 7 or 8 years old. Back then I started exploring nature, and yeah, I recorded green toad observations in Upper Austria on paper with there was no application back then for sure, and no digital internet even. And so I sent them into the herpetology department in Vienna, and this perspective, this user perspective, this participant's perspective is what we in SpotRun bring to citizen science projects very strongly. This means that I, as a user, I don't only want to contribute data. I want to see the data, but I also want to be able to ask questions. I want to be able to communicate. I want to be able to have a user profile and to collect my data basically, because it's also a kind of a game or kind of also a journey and an experience when participating for a longer time in citizen science, and also for staying basically motivated. There is also the technical requirement when you do citizen science apps, basically that there are functionalities integrated which are the standard of the modern internet, right? So that I, for example, can add username, tag somebody, and this person then gets a notification and stays in the loop. This is one big part of every work and every application we do on SpotRun, that there is a basic safe space, a social digital network, but not in a way that, like commercial social media works, which, we all know the current times basically, but is basically based on surveillance. And the whole privacy aspect is also a big part which we bring in this community design to citizen science projects. And there are also outreach tools in every citizen science app we do, basically to be able to reach all participants with modern push notifications and push messages and disseminate news, a new blog article, for example, a result or even learning content or educational content to the community. So for the observations, COSEA is still coming out currently of the final fine-tuning and extension phase, having been done together with the consortiums, and it covers a wide range of data input options. It goes from habitat observations to species, but also pollution, human activities, economy factors like, for example, fishers and their experience, how catches go, if there is bycatch, etc. And also infrastructure, which is a big part of the transition project, about the condition of infrastructure on our coasts and in the marine environment. On the right hand, you see a little bit of a section, right? It's just a pollution section. And this is, for example, modeled for the marine pollution observational standard and has all the categories available. We take hopefully live a brief look a little bit later on that. The second part is also to create interactivity and ocean literacy. This is basically, as mentioned, done with community tools integrated into the full toolkit. So this is a very important thing for the user experience, as we call it in design, to be immersed in citizen science. And again, not only contribute data points and your photos are taken and that's it, but to have an interactive loop in a modern toolkit, which enables also communication and community building. And on the other hand, as an outreach tool, for example, every project lead or every partner in the project has dissemination tools integrated into the digital toolkit for their own use. So like to disseminate news about the region, about outcomes of the science process, or even, as you can see here, simply true facts about sea stars, because they're really amazing creatures. Sorry, yeah. So Spotron is a very open platform. It's designed as an open platform because from the start, we built it as a collaborative hub. We have often made this experience that if especially small initiatives out there, and there are hundreds or thousands which take care of the oceans, which exist on a municipality level, for sure do not have the budgets and do not have also the experiences and not the IT expertise, which is super important when doing live apps, which include users and online participation. They don't have that basically on hand to run their own apps. So basically what we do on Spotron and also in the COSEA project is we build these tools for co-use. This is a supported co-use, which means that there is still the option that there are graphic designers there, for example, creating new buttons if necessary, and that it's possible also to have independent access to data in an easy to use data interface. And this is a huge potential for sure to communicate, to build communities, and to use modern digital tools to basically enable better data saturation, better knowledge about the status of marine environments and coastal environments, and also to engage the public deeply into their environment and observations of their environment. So if you have an initiative, if you have a project, please reach out to us. We are happy to onboard new, also small projects in the COSEA platform. What's possible there is to get direct data access of your region. We have built a system where as administrator login can be tailored and can be configured to have, for example, just the data from a specific region where the project is active and simply access and download the data CSV anytime. Also, it's possible to use moderator experts account in the front end, in the applications, which makes it basically possible to edit data points directly in the app and also have enhanced communication options available as a moderator account. Also, project partners can send these custom messages we take a brief look on and publish also workshop activities on the map, but also regions and, for example, hiking or excursion trails, right, where an excursion or a walk takes place when engaging and working with the local community. So we have a small form on our website out there. If you have an initiative and if you're interested in co-using an interactive modern toolkit, please reach out to us. Everything is built on an EU-centric infrastructure with very strong privacy in place. And we basically currently are in the phase for opening up and onboarding first small or medium or large initiatives for this purpose. And I would suggest that we take a brief look now onto the live application. And I have started here wait just a second. This is all live. So I've started here with an Android device here running basically on my workstation. I have always said at this point that this is an emulator, right? If something hangs, it's not the real thing. It's not a smartphone. So yeah, you need to forgive it. But what we see here basically is the COSEA application. There are already observations around the coastlines of Europe and beyond. And what people on one end can do, and I quickly move a little bit here, is when you start the app, it zooms also to your current location. So it supports initiatives, or it supports basically data input right on where you are as an outdoor tool. But let's simply select an habitat here and say we are here in south of Italy. And yeah, let's select the sandy coast. There are also information panels available, which make it possible to learn more about what you submit right there when you need it in the selection list. And also I can do different things. Let's zoom a little bit. Let's do cancel here and make it more realistic, so we are not somewhere out in space, so to say, looking at Sicily, but right here on the coast. Okay. And so what's also possible, for example, in this kind of observational input is that I draw a habitat area in this section here, and I provide geospatial data basically alongside my observation. In this case, this data input dialog is created together with the scientists, with the researchers, and it's tailored to their needs. And if there is a new initiative coming on and they need additional data points or initial categories to input here, it's also possible to extend that. But I quickly click something here, like is there an algae bloom? Which color is the algae bloom? Do you estimate a reason for the algae bloom? Another project looking for seagrass formations and piles. So let's give them some information here. And most of that is optional. And then I add quickly a picture here from the gallery. I hope that works. Again, this is an emulator. Yeah, let's take this one. And I can also add multiple pictures here, but we also have a little bit of a social science component integrated from the start that people can also can give qualitative feedback, right? How does it make them feel? And this is also then used in analysis. So I write a quick comment here, test, so everybody knows, because this is all live, and I hit quickly save, and now it's simply uploaded and processed also by a background worker on the IT device, and it's then getting onto the IT infrastructure. So I have my upload list here. Yeah, I always use the same test picture. So here we have it. It's an interactive tool where we just now did a citizen science observation. It's very, very brief, very quick and effective. So what users can do on this community level is that they then can interact. So for example, I can click here simply like, right? Because this is something I need as a participant. This is something I need if I am active in a community, or simply most people can show their appreciation for a data point here, or for an observation or photo. But I can also write a comment. I can even say, let's say Baiba. She's, by the way, also in the chat and also here in the call. And Baiba is leading one of the small initiatives, Find Where Found, which is combining art and biodiversity with citizen science. And there are also exhibitions coming out with amazing artworks of algae found on the beaches, and they are geolocated right here in COSEA. So I quickly use her as a test subject, so to say. And the test comment and make a smiley, because that's good. And I hit quickly save, and oh, already commented. Wonderful. So there is already an interaction going on here right on this test spot. So Find Where Found have submitted a comment just some seconds ago, and I also put out my test comment. So again, if somebody gets at username tag, so to say, this person receives a push notification right here in the system. But also part is this community building. So again, this is a live view. This is my user account here. And you see that people, my bubble basically, or my outreach friends are here in this application, and they are interactive and they are doing observations, and others can interact. And this is a huge part of citizen science, to be part of a citizen science project and not only providing data. So last but not least, I hope the time is not running out. Now it looks still fine, right? Yeah, this is okay. So there are also additional layers in there. I zoom out a little bit here. And for example, there are integrated data visualizations where I see contributions, and here on this distributional level, and I can also filter, for example, for different kind of categories, and I can also then get a better overview basically on what's going on our coasts, depending on the region for sure where the app is also active. But there are also statistics like misclicked, such as sorry, so like which kind of categories are inputted into the app, and even on which timelines and timescales different kind of observations have been put into the application and by the community, and it's shown also here. And this also gives something back in terms of phenology, for example, when distinct species appear and when they are not active in the year. but also I have my own user profile. And this is super important because, again, I am an active participant. I want to have my collection. And I still remember dearly my interaction with, like a seagull there and feeding it pizza. It was very nice. But I also have a message board. I can see my activity feed by the friends and my connected people. I also have personal statistics about my contributions, which is a little bit empty because we are from Vienna and sadly there is no coast, and so we cannot participate that often basically. So this is also part of being in citizen science, and this is what we do on the SpotRun platform to immerse people, to also create communities and people and let's say also in initiatives, NGOs and projects, they use it actively. And this creates basically something which is not only about data, but is a part of our lives. And this is, in my experience at least, from my backstory where I was 8 years old until now, a very crucial part of citizen science, to be part of it and not only not have this separation between science and citizens. So last but not least, let's take a brief look on the outreach tools. So this all goes into a data administration interface. So this is basically the spots which here's my test spot, for example. I have just uploaded this. And this is all, again, a live view of the data administration interface with also export options, etc. But what you can see up here is a message button. And I can quickly add now, as a project administrator or project partner, and even regional partner, I can add a message or a pop-up. And let's quickly say, I don't fill it out for now. But I can say, for example, it's a full screen medium or it's default. It's an image and I can give it an image link. There can be a link to the blog or a title and a message, also with formatting options. And when I fill that out, let's go one step back. It basically looks like that. So there's all information out there, even videos is now possible. And then a project partner simply can hit send or even set up a timer. And this is then what we call a push message or custom message. And this is an outreach tool for the community or for the project partners to the whole community. So again, this is a video sent to everybody, and these don't arrive in a black box or in a spam account in an email folder, but these messages arrive directly here as notifications on the user's smartphones, which is kind of nice. And here's one from another project from StreetMind, which is about medical and environmental psychology, completely different topic, but running on SpotRun and having sent a notification out there. So this is a very strong tool to communicate, right? Because again, it's interactive and people can receive it directly where they participate on in a full feature toolkit. So this is a quick overview. There are many, many more layers to what we do on the SpotRun platform since we developed these applications and the framework for the applications since now over 10 years. And all these features and functionalities built for one project can always be used by all other projects on the platform. And this is how that all came together. Because it's basically not really possible for one single project to fund the scope of modern interactive digital communication, maps, location, and all these parts together. And so we build it step by step together with universities, projects, NGOs. And every time there is a feature ready, we distribute it to all projects on the platform. And so it strengthens citizen science as a whole. Thank you very much. So this was the brief overview. And if there are questions, I'm happy to answer for sure.
Thank you so much, Philip. It's amazing to see it live as well and to see that, you can already use it, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, up to the question and answer, there is some. So I will start reading them, and I believe it's for Philip, this one. Where does this data and in situ observation go? You can have fair data, but are these observations being sent to OBIS, data repository or EMODNet? Now, I think it can be for both of you, actually, this question.
Tim, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I can go first. So as our data is not really standardized for those platforms, they don't go to EMODNet or OBIS at the moment. We can look into it. It was not our main target at the start, but it is completely available from our own platforms, and it goes in our own platforms, and it's like with an API it functions. So what's an API? It's just a kind of link. Based on that link, you can extract a CSV file and there's all the data in. So it's actually very easily available for everyone. So that's how we do it. And that's as well how we can keep it easily up to date. But we are as well looking in the future and can it go to other platforms, because there are many more platforms that support data storage.
Yeah, do I have a mic on? Yeah, the
Yes, you have your mic on.
waits me, sorry. So for the Spotron part, what we do basically is that we provide the infrastructure, right? Every project on the Spotron platform first can choose how they want to handle the data. This is nothing we interfere with because we are not the scientists, we are not the researchers. For the COSEA platform, we have just seen it. The data goes directly first into the data administration interface. This is stored on a European service and European cloud infrastructure, which we also build and provide and also maintain over time, which is the crucial part when you do apps, especially interactive apps or any online software, is that you always need to maintain it and update it. And this is the big work. This is the bigger chunk of work, basically, when you do online software in general, from the small blog to also an application. But onto our infrastructure, there it's stored. It's accessible for, on one hand, the project partners of the projects, so they can download this as CSV with just a click. There is also an API, which is a data connector. Tim, I think, mentioned it already before, and which enables automatically synchronization, for example, of data. So then there is another work package in both projects about data interoperability, and because there is the marine digital twin of the European Union. And what we do first is we have connectors to the data repository of the project, and there the data is made available also in an anonymized form, which is very important for sure when we talk about citizen science, that there is no personal data, no user information online distributed. But on the other hand, then this data is also usable on geo server infrastructures and digital twin infrastructures. And what we do on the Spotron platform currently is also in the project is, in translation, is that we develop a data interoperability platform, which then allows to link the data from citizen science to, for example, environmental data already available from heat waves to boat traffic to industrial zones. And this is a data interaction and a data working with the data in a way that you can see where there are overlaps and export data based on parameters. This is what we currently build up also for the future. So this will get quite elaborated and also has data visualizations attached to that and map views, and will be available also during the project runtime.
Thank you so much, Philip. We have a little bit more time, but we are running out soon. But there is another question that I think can also be for both of you. This is great for NGO or local group who can use this for reporting, but how can government use this for the reporting? Is it up to standards for incorporating this data for EU monitoring activities?
Sure.
Maybe Tim first and then Philip.
Yeah,
Also.
so the idea within Restore for Life is that we create this decision support system. That's this overall black box. That's how I describe it right now. But that's really for stakeholders, for local communities, for NGOs who know about how to restore areas, where they can go find important information. So they can see, for example, from the data citizens collect, either is it from the app or from the other data sets they collect, okay, what's the status of the wetlands? And it really targets as well to the reporting they need to do for if they did the restoration or if they want to do the restoration. So it really aligns with the guidelines or the rules set for that. That's the idea. We're still making this decision support system, but they are all very closely aligned. And so it's an add-on data set to what a scientist can deliver, or for example, what we can extract from remote sensing. So it's really this extra data layer that you add to it to make even your data much more sufficient. For example, you can easily use like iNaturalist or this type of data too, where a lot of biodiversity information is available. You can extract the data without any problem. It's verify this data and do as well assessments for restoration or how effective areas are. So it's really easy to extract, and it's allowed to do it within the policies. So yeah.
So to dive also once more into this data interoperability platform, this is basically tailored for this use case. So this is for that policymakers, stakeholders, but also local NGOs can simply say, okay, in our region, users and people have made these observations, and there is this data layer available by the European Union, for example, in the digital twin, about infrastructure and boat traffic or tourism, and how that relates is then basically analyzable, right? For the practice work, this is not our role in the project for sure, but in every Horizon Europe project, there is their work package about stakeholder engagement and impact. And part of that is also to work with local population and municipalities to use the data in then policy outcomes ideally, right? It's not always working, it's, as we know, in our world, but still, this is at least the goal. But one more side note is very important for me here as a citizen scientist. As I said, we don't have a coast here, but another example from another project about nature observations in the forests around Vienna here. What a user can do is to report a problem. And by documenting the problem, this is empowerment. What we did, for example, is that there was an amphibian pond, a very important amphibian pond has been damaged by construction work and by foresting work in the forest. So the water was running out. And by having that on the map as a spot right here on location, describing perhaps the problem, right? And sending this spot with an email to the municipalities resulted in that the broken pond, so the broken encroachment basically has been fixed the next day and the pond was saved. This is what power of people is, right? And again, if I just call them, they don't know where to go, they don't know what it is. But if they have a photographic evidence, if there is data supporting that and an observation with geo-coordinates on the map, then a solution can be done. This is also a little bit our founding story of the Spotron platform, because it originated in our hike we have done over 10 years ago, and we stumbled upon a wild pile of waste and a broken refrigerator, etc. in the forest. And we stood there with our smartphones and we just took a photograph, right? And then this idea popped into our heads, hey, we should do something about it to be better able to report it to the authorities if there is a problem on a location. And out of this idea of spotting wild waste in nature and wanting to remove it, but this is a refrigerator, so having the need to report it, the whole Spotron platform did come out. And this was quite a journey since then, but it empowers people also by doing these observations and have this link to what's happening, where, and here's a photograph.
Thank you, Philip. Okay, we have only 3 minutes left, but there is a bit more question, but maybe we take one more. I think also for both of you, but we can be a little bit shorter in the answer, maybe.
Okay.
Is there protocols for each of the variable on the app? For example, marine pollution, because the policymaker need to make sure in order to use the data from citizens that it needs to abide by the standard and protocol for variable monitoring coastal and marine ecosystem, like the EU directive, like the Habitat Directive or Ecosystem Restoration Directive. I think that question can also go to both of you.
I think what you can ask from citizens, because they are not researchers, they are not experts in the topics, need to be as simplified as possible, that it can be this extra data layer in your quality assessment, in your in the assessment you're doing. So it should be simple. They should be able to assess it in a good way. So there should not be too many ways for different interpretations. So that's, for example, why we start testing the questions in the field, and then we realize, hey, there are some different interpretations even between the researchers. So let's go back to our questions and improve them a little bit. And if we make this very simplified questions, where there's just one answer possible per location, more or less, then hopefully that result in that you have a very predictive and good extra data layer. For example, to find hotspots or to find illegal activities, as Philip said. That's what's quite often happening actually from citizen science data. And then it can support all the activities you want to do. But don't use it, in my opinion, as the only data layer. Always validate it with a scientist visit, or for example, with remote sensing, and check if it's actually feasible that you can find this species at that location, as an example.
Yeah, I would run into that a little bit with, again, a feature. What we have on the Spotron platform, again, available for all projects who join the platform for the applications, is the user role feature. This is what you, when you create your user account, see the first time, right? You can select basically your role. And this is also your level of experience. So as Tim said, it's very important to keep things simple, but it's also important in our view to separate between, very bluntly said, beginners, advanced, and experts, right? But it can also be like local residents and fishers, because, for example, a fisher has a different experience or a different kind of knowledge which he or she wants to contribute or can contribute. And for example, if you are a fisher in the COSEA app, you have an extra button here in the survey for fishing, which does not make sense if it's, for example, a local tourist or something who cannot answer these questions, right? So this is one hand. And monitoring protocols can be complex, but it's also important that you see, at least in our opinion, is that a citizen science tool is not the citizens do the data and the scientists do nothing, right? So what we do is the Spotron platform is also for monitoring tools. We do also professional monitoring tools. And with this user role feature, for example, we are able to integrate different kind of complexities in service. And if you are a field scientist, for example, here you have also, oh, wait a second. So did I switch? Okay. You have different kind of input options then in the data input dialog, which reflects this expertise. And this can go up to a protocol which is standardized and is more complex. So this is one side. The other side is that by making this distinction of, so to say, target groups, it's also possible to integrate different sections, which then have more complex protocols available for doing observations or even sample collections. For example, if I'm a sample collector, I can now do sample collections. There's also the creation of a randomized standardized ID number for lab analysis, and so on, and it goes on from there. So this is possible to reflect if the features support it.
Thank you so much, Philip, and Tim, both of you. I will probably stop the question now because we are rounding out of question. I see that we have one person in the chat that would be really happy to follow up, as he is doing a citizen science PhD in Malta. You have his LinkedIn in here. Maybe you can connect together. Thank you so much for both of you for the really in-depth. It was nice to have two projects, one more on the marine ecosystem and one more on the freshwater. I think we really cover a big coverage of the blue economy today. And to have you both really passionate about this, I love that. Yeah, maybe I hand over to Anna if you have some few last words before we close the webinar.
Yes, so thank you, Oriane. I'd like to give a big thank you to our speakers, Philip and Tim, for their very inspiring new digital tools. I really got a few ideas for an upcoming projects. And I believe that our online participants took the most of this webinar as well. So finally, thank you, Oriane, for moderating the session. Thank you, everyone, for joining online. And please enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.